Mum. I'm Digby Wiley Badger of Wiley Badger Construction. I'm the Managing Director.
Okay.
Pleased to meet you.
And you?
Perhaps we'll shake hands. Since we're in contract together.
Yes.
Well, here we are. I don't know if this... Sorry?
Mr. Godolphin not here? Gordon Godolphin?
No.
Expecting him at 12?
He hasn't told me whether he's going to be here at all. He is diving this weekend. I don't know if he's being caught out in the sea or something.
Well, he did say he'd be here at noon. It is noon, isn't it?
Yes, it's noon, and a windy noon at that.
Okay.
Shall we go in?
Yeah,
As you know, the gate's not part of my work. This is work's not forming part of the contract. Are you happy with it?
Well, it seems good. I've been told that this kind of lettering is all the rage. Would it not have been cheaper to make something in wood?
I don't think it would, actually. I mean, I don't know what it cost, but I was told it was something like £3,000. I think that's perfectly good value for money, because it's a good, solid gate. The only thing I want you to know is that it's quite dangerous, that if you were sort of standing there and it hit you in the back or in the face, it could kill you, basically. So you probably need some kind of control to keep it in position. So we're using that at the moment.
Okay.
Do you want to go in?
Yeah. I'd like to see the finished article.
Well, it's not finished, Mum. I'm sorry, Sarah. Didn't Mr. Godolphin explain?
No, we had a completion date of the 1st of the month and it's the 12th. I've got tenants moving in at the end of the month.
That might be quite difficult because we are finished. I'll explain to you why we're not finished.
It's really not finished.
Well, I mean, it's quite close to being finished, but I'm not being paid to finish it, so I've gone off site for the last 2 weeks.
So you mean you haven't been working for 2 weeks?
That's right.
Well, there's an awful lot to do still.
I can't disagree with that, but I need to be paid. I've asked for 95,000 as a valuation, and Mr. Godolphin's only certified 75,000, and I'm going to see an adjudicator about it.
Well, I think we should wait till he gets here till we decide what's
Well,
paid.
I'm a busy man, you know. I only got 1 day a week to spend on this job, and I'm not being paid to spend any money on it at the moment. So I'm not going to wait for Mr. Godolphin if he doesn't turn up in the
well, I need to
next
speak
few
to him
minutes.
to confirm what he's paid.
You're very welcome to speak to him. I mean, I find him very difficult to get hold of, and I suspect he might be underwater at the moment, which isn't a very good place to answer his mobile phone.
No.
But anyway, what do you think? I mean, is it what you were expecting?
Well, I mean, it's very nice what you've done, obviously, but I'm disappointed it's 2 weeks overdue.
Yeah,
and the stairs aren't even finished.
Well, we can't finish the stairs because we haven't finished the electrics, and we need to finish the electrics before we finish the plumbing. And we can't finish the electrics with the stairs in position because you couldn't get to them.
I see.
But I mean, the stairs are already cut up and they fit, but we can't actually finish them. Do you want to see them?
Yep.
That's what's called the string.
Okay.
That needs a door in it so that you can get into the heat cylinder.
Right.
We haven't cut the door yet. That's one of the reasons we haven't cut the door is Mr. Godolphin doesn't seem to know where he wants the door or whether he wants this panel to be removable. Well, if it is removable, of course the stairs will fall down, so we don't think it's a very good idea to make this panel removable, but I mean, he's an architect, he must be able to work it out for himself.
I would hope so. So it's all been plastered then, and the floors are down?
Yes. I mean, obviously the floors, we've got protection on them at the moment because we don't want to damage them. They're all in position. Hello, I'm sorry I'm late. Had a bit of problem with decompression.
Right. How are you?
Well, I feel a bit strange from the decompression, but I'm afraid my partner had to drop me off because she's very cold and she needed to warm up. So she'll come and collect me whenever.
Okay.
Okay.
Should we go in?
It's entirely up to you.
Well, I think we should.
Right.
Not quite finished yet.
No. Well, you know this problem with Mr. What's his name? Wiley Badger. He just wants lots more money from you.
end of the month.
Yes, that's not looking very good, is it? Well, obviously he couldn't do the painting because you haven't given him a paint colour. And he seems to have found some other problems, and he's claiming a lot of extras for design development.
The design was finalised when he got to site. How can he be claiming extra money for that?
Well, I mean, I'll just give you an example. I mean, he wants to claim for taking the corner off that so that it isn't sharp, and so a child wouldn't poke their eye out on it. I mean, he knew when he signed the contract that it would be a mitered corner like that. It changed the back from...
He's talking about the order of £20,000.
Well, yeah, he's a very greedy man. He basically wants... his last valuation was £100,000. And, I mean, that's, you know, it's a £118,000 contract. We would normally pay him £95,000 of that. I would take 5% off if we agreed the valuation, but I don't agree the valuation, and I've certified £75,000.
For the work he's done?
For the work he's done. As you can see, he's nowhere near finishing, and he now is talking about adjudication on the basis that that's not an adequate valuation on my part.
And he's told me he thinks that he would win that.
Well, I think he's just chancing it, but I have heard from other people that he has won a few adjudications in the last few years. So, I mean, his partner's a lawyer, so it's not a very ideal situation, shall we say.
But the last time I was here, everything was progressing well. I don't understand where the hold-ups come, and now where he's...
Well, he walked off site 2 weeks ago because of this.
Because of what?
Well, because he says he hasn't been paid by you to an adequate level.
But
and therefore he wants adjudication. Adjudication's over in a month.
But I would be prepared to pay him the sum that was agreed. But he's saying that he...
But I'm the contract administrator and I haven't agreed it.
I'm not saying that I will. I didn't say that when I spoke to him. I said I wanted to speak to you first of all.
Yes.
But where do we go from here? Because he's not working...
Well, I think we have to wait to see what the adjudicator says. Because I think I'm protecting your interests by...
I don't know what the outcome of that will be, and I'm going to lose income from tenants that I have already set up to move in less than 2 weeks.
Well, if you write me an instruction to pay him £20,000, well, to certify another £20,000, then we probably avoid adjudication, and we might be ready at Christmas.
But
on top of that,
who knows what he will do after that?
Only he knows what he will do. My suspicion is that he's going to claim that there are a lot of extras, and he's going to want about £135,000 to finish the job. And if he doesn't get it, he'll go to adjudication again.
In the future?
Yeah.
Well, it's all very disappointing.
I mean, another possibility perhaps is that we sign off practical completion at this point and tell him we don't want him to do any more work, and I cancel all the work he hasn't finished from the contract, and then we hack it out in adjudication. We bring in another builder to sort the job out now.
But they may want a higher fee because it's not their responsibility. They're taking on someone else's work, aren't they?
Yeah, but you know, I don't think that the work, what you can see of it, is done to an adequate standard. I mean, it's not finished, but for example, the walls could be painted pretty much now. There's a little bit of mould up there, but I think they're drying out. If we could get this fire working, and it's got water in it, so in the boiler, we could get it warmed up. We could probably dry it out enough, get a scaffold in here, get some painters on it. But we need to terminate his contract for non-performance.
I see. So you have summarised that the work he's done so far is worth £75,000, of which he's been paid.
Well, I mean, it's probably worth a bit more than that, but I'm trying to make sure
that
you've always got enough money left to
complete.
Well, not so much complete, but to extract liquidated damages for his non-completion.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, there's £150 a day for every day he goes over the beginning of this month. So it's to the 12th, so that's £1,800 that he owes us now for non-completion.
Right.
But he's going to argue that the completion date should have been set later on the basis of variations, which I have instructed. I mean, you've seen all the drawings that I've been sending through to him and all the written instructions that I've given about things like finishing off that corner. And there are some bigger ones because we changed a few of the specifications on the.
But like what? What other things does he think he's had to make changes
Well,
to?
we had. Let's have a look at these windows, for example. We had a provisional sign for window ironmongery.
And another thing, I thought this room was going to be much larger than it is in reality.
Well, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, the only way we can make it bigger is by making the corridor smaller. We can't move that wall or this wall because they're about that thick and they're made of granite.
Right.
I think you'll find it looks a lot bigger when it's cleared out and painted. I hope you're not worried about the fact that it's dangerous to walk out of that door, and if you're like me, you lose your eyesight because you bang your head. But I mean, that doesn't meet the building regulations, but I did explain to you that because we're raising the floor, the door would no longer really work as a proper door. But of course, a horse could stick its head in, so you know it's a proper stable door. Anyway, just to point out the ironmongery here, this is, I think, fairly normal ironmongery. I got him to order it from a place called Franchi in London. It's not particularly expensive, but he's saying that this is far more complicated to fix than anything that he has ever fixed before. And
Well, that seems ridiculous. It looks like every other piece of window equipment I've ever seen.
obviously, he's not used to it. I mean, just
That's
the fact
not,
that he's
that's
staying
not
still.
a design decision he's had to make, it's an instruction.
Yeah, but he's priced it on the basis of what he expected it to be, and it's not what he expected it to be.
But that's his error, not our error.
Well, I agree, but I'm just telling you the kind of issues that will come up in front of the adjudicator. I think that one's very minor. I mean, this was going to be glass, but you decided you wanted to change it into something solid. Now, it's actually cheaper making it out of a solid material. Well, it's just a piece of MDF, but he's going to charge an extra for the change because he's going to say he'd already ordered the glass. And this is the problem. Every time you make a change or I make a change or develop the design, he's going to say that's a variation. I mean, there's some of this, if you want to look carefully at this, he thinks that these frames and such have what are called architraves, which cover up the joint between the plaster and the timber.
Right.
I'll give you another example here. It's easy to see in the light. He wants a lot of money for filling, if you just come this way, for filling this gap here where the plaster runs out into the frame. My view is that if this plastering was done properly, there wouldn't be a gap because the plaster would be at the same level as the top of the frame and it would be absolutely flat. And he could have put a bead in there as well. But you know, his view is that's just out of order, and what we're asking him to do is something he wants extra money for.
But this seems like a totally minor 10-minute job.
Well, yeah, there's another 10-minute job here. You know, all the way around this frame there are no architraves. And you add up all the 10 minutes and you get to 10 hours. And then
But do you
10
get
hours
to
is
20
£20
grand?
an hour. No. I mean, you're a medical person, aren't you?
Well, that's not really relevant.
Well, it is. I mean, this is an operation, yeah? And the thing is, halfway through the operation, we need more nurses and we need more anaesthetists. And I'm giving you his argument. And if you're not going to stop the operation unless something goes seriously wrong, which of course it has. But it's costing more and more and more, and somebody's got to pay for it. That's his argument. I mean, my argument is that he's had all the money he deserves, and we want to get rid of him. But I didn't tell this to him. I didn't say this to him, but I think that's maybe your position that I suggest is that we go through the adjudication, and whatever the result is, we still get rid of him.
Well, I really need to think about it. I need to get back to London now anyway. I've got a flight soon from Newton, so I think I better go. But thank you for coming, even though it was a couple of hours late.
Well, I'm sorry I was late. I probably shouldn't have gone diving this afternoon, but it was it was a good day's diving. Very little swell out there, so it was easy to get in and out of the boat if you're old and fat like me. But you're not pleased with it then? You don't like it?
No, I mean, I think what's done is very nice. I can see that it will be nice, and it will make a very nice place for someone to live, but it's not finished, it's overdue, and it's going to look like it's going to cost more money and be a lot more stress than it was ever intended to be. So, no, I'm not pleased about that.
I'm afraid that's the construction industry.
Well, maybe. But next door was built without much issue, so... Anyway, as I said, I better get back to London. Can you look
Okay.
up?
I will.
Thank you.